Okay, hey, this is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres, and it's Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock-ish or so, and I guess we'll call this a Sunday brief, because I have some things that I just want to get out there again. This weekend we went over to Beaver Island. Dopey hat, it's got a brim, so I need it. And over on Beaver Island, we're working on a farm project over there, and met a lot of people that are into the whole farming thing, and who knows what's going to come of it. And while I was over there, we made a video with the farm family that was hosting us, and what they do is they raise foxes. Now, you can't see that video on here. You have to go over to the Anyone Can Farm tribe. These guys are fur farmers, so they grow foxes. They're domesticated foxes, and we checked it out. It was very well done and very humane, very considerate for the animals. But instead of eating them, they harvest the pelts off them, and then that's fashioned into things that people use, people need, people want, things like that. So we have the tribe page, and if you want to go over to the tribe, you request being a member of the tribe, and then so the tribe is someplace where people who are like-minded can say, hey, I want to see what they're doing over there, I want to see what this is all about, and can come. There's a lot of processes out there that as our channel's gotten bigger, people have come into our life that do processes that are different than the ones that we do. Very interesting, and I think when everything's said and done, we find out that all these things kind of connect a little bit. They kind of connect in some ways. So if you are of a mind to see something like that, go on over to the Anyone Can Farm tribe and say, hey, I'd like to be a member of the tribe, and then we run an extensive background check on you, and we'll let you in, maybe. No, I'm kidding. There's no background check or anything. But the point of, like, these are sharp people, and they're doing a process that not everybody could do, especially right off the bat. And what I was so impressed about was, first of all, the location. They're on an island 32 miles off the coast of Charlevoix, Michigan. You know, Charlevoix's got everything. They got a Kmart, and they got everything. Walmart, they got, you name it, they got it. But once you get 32 miles off the coast, there's not so much stuff. I mean, there's a little store, and it has about a quarter of what you could find anyplace else. You have to bring stuff with you, and it really separates the people who live there intentionally from the people that might want to go visit if it was a little closer. Right, it's a 2-hour boat ride to get over there, but you'd hate it. You'd hate it. So anyway, what they've had to do is they've had to pull together what they have and then make a product out of it in order to make a living. And it would be very similar to what would have to happen if you were one of the first people that set foot there in the 1600s to make ends meet, you know, make it through the winter, things like that. And in my mind, that is the essence of homesteading, where we take like the natural resources that we have, the things that are around us, and then move the pieces around on the board, throw in a little bit of our elbow grease and brain power and good attitude, and then we have a product that is worth a darn, that you could trade to somebody for something that they make, or some currency, or some pieces of silver, or something like that. And these guys have really done that. It's very, very unique. I mean, they birth foxes, and they have to be very meticulous about the males and the females and separations of them, because foxes aren't like chickens. They're way different, and they're very unique. And then they pelt them. When the pelts are the best, they would take the pelts from them and then get those tanned, and then they take those tanned furs and fashion them into hats, gloves, scarves, all this kind of stuff. And I was in their shop, and next time we go there, we'll show you their shop, and we'll show you the machinery that they use and things like that. And then all this whole process is not something that they were able to go to a university to learn. Not at all. I don't think they teach this at the university here in Michigan. I don't. But it is an attitude, and it is a capability that's within all of us. You take any product that you can see around you and study that product, and most likely you could fashion something like that if you had to. All right. Now, we're in the homesteading business. Do I have to do this? I don't have to do this. I don't have to. No, not in this society. I got Walmart out there I could go to. I could go to I could stay at Walmart with my people. But I get a bang out of doing it for myself. And that's a whole nother story. But it's a path of discovery that I like. It's for me. It's definitely for me. And it's for a lot of other people too. So if you're into this, go ahead and check out the Anyone Can Farm tribe. It doesn't cost you nothing. That's not the idea. The idea is just to network and share information and share pictures and see what other people are doing, and maybe it will spur you on to the next thing that you're going to do, and then you can share that with us. I mean, these people invited us out to their farm. We went, and we had the time of our lives. This is our second time being there. This time I brought my kids, and then we did a little camping on the side and enjoyed some other things too. So we had a good time. And we met some really cool people out there too, that we would have most likely never have met. And it all centers around this whole farming thing, this idea that won't go away, and probably shouldn't. There's probably a good reason for it. Okay, so this is what I'm doing now, and I thought I've got a question that I want to answer, and I will do that in conjunction with showing you what I'm doing now. I am in the grow area, is what I call it, and it's a pasture that's broken up into 3 chunks, and then I plant things in it. I plant forage crops in it for the pigs, for the Mangalitsa pig. We've been raising Mangalitsa pigs here for over 10 years now, and they've worked out really good for us. And I just to you know, in the spirit of what I've just told you about the fox farm, it's by the way, it's flat-tail fox farm, flat-tail fox farm. And if you go to the tribe, Jill put the description in, or their website is in the description, and you can just pop on it, and then you can go over there and see what they got if you want to see their pictures and all of their stuff. And they're in the process of really getting up to speed with the whole internet thing. So it's not everything it could be, but it's still decent. But anyway, with our Mangalitsas, we farrow them here, which means we let them have their babies here. So we have to keep a boar, we have to keep a breeding program going. We grow them here. So that's where I am right now. I am in the grow area. Behind me is the field that I just put them on. there's the group of them. There are 4 sows in there, and they're running in there with Friendly the boar. And so that's field 3. I'm on field 2. I just took them off of here 4 days ago. And I wanted to show you this, and at the end of this answer the question that I have been asked. And I think it's a good question. I think it deserves answering. Okay, right here, if you can see this, this is the stubble from the field peas that I planted in here in the spring. And this field got quite significant. There was a lot of forage out here, and they were here, I'm going to say 3 weeks, and they cleaned it off just to the stubble, okay? And I cannot resist. I put my rototiller on the tractor. I cannot resist to come in here and just till this real quick. Turns down all that stubble. And I had a little bit of rain this morning. We had about 1 inch of rain. So it's the perfect time to do this. And then I'm going to be able to get this planted. So what I'm seeing here in this area where I showed you where the stubble is there is a piece of pig manure, I would say every 6 square inches. So they've been out here long enough that they have eaten everything that grew out here. They've turned it into manure and lean meat and fat. So they've turned it into pork and manure. The manure has gone back to the soil, and now I'm putting the manure under, right? Also a lot of urine. So I've had to add a bit of water out here to those animals because they drink about 1 gallon a day is what they go through. All right, so I'm plowing this down, and then I'm going to plant it again. And I've decided that I'm going to plant this into daikon radishes. Sometimes they call them forage radishes. And over in field 1, I'm going to show you what that looks like when they get going. So these ones are going. If I could get over there right now easily and pull one up, they're probably about 1 foot long and probably about that big around. All right, so there's a good amount of forage there, and then the tops are quite high too. And you can see some other things that are in there. There's some weeds in there, I guess we'll use that word. And then there is some sorghum, which is Sudan grass. Don't really know how that got in there. It's probably from the last time I planted it in there. That field that they're on right now, I planted that in Sudan grass too, because I really like the pictures in the magazine about how Sudan grass is supposed to grow. It's supposed to be taller than me and so thick you have to walk through it with a machete in your hand to get through it. But in reality, here on Baker's Green Acres, it comes up about every 3 feet, a stalk will shoot up, and it comes up about this high, and that's it. So it's not done well here. And you know, there's probably reason for that I need to find out. I might be doing something wrong, or the soil might need amending or something. I have to work my way down through that. So I'll put that on the list. But for now, I know that field radishes grow really, really well. And here it is, it's August. I know we're close to the 20th, someplace in there. I still have a lot of growing season left. And if I know if I put radishes on here, I'm gonna get a super crop. We're getting rain now. This soil is quite moist. So if I do get this planted today and harrowed, I can walk away from this, and I know that these will germinate in a very short period of time. And then, you know, what I will be doing is I'll be taking the pigs off that field when they've got that trimmed down to nothing, which could be a week or 10 days, and then I'll run them down the chute, and they'll be on that turnip field right there. I mean, that daikon radish field. And then this one will be growing, and then I'll be able to plant that field And I'll probably plant that with a crop that does really well in the fall. I'll get good germination, and then you want something that grows good in cool weather. And that puts me back to turnips. Purple top turnips work really, really well. And this field will probably be the same, okay? Okay, the question I had was, how big is too big in a Mangalitsa pig? A lot of people have gotten into just the Mangalitsa pig, and to answer that, I may have to come back to you because I'm extremely low battery, but I'll try. There's a few things that you can use this pig for, that I use it for. Anyway, there's probably more than that. I know there's some internet experts out there that know way more about this than I do. But I use them for fresh meat pigs, and then I use them for charcuterie pigs. Charcuterie is the art of curing pigs, you know, like hams, bacon, prosciutto, loma, copa, all of those great things that everybody loves. And you utilize salt, utilize nitrates, utilize tannins, things like that, right? And that's probably a little bit more complex than just a fresh meated pig. A fresh meat would be a chop, you know, just a pork chop, or a shoulder, or a Boston butt, or a ham steak. Sometimes they are cured, but you know what I mean. It's like the difference between a salted piece of meat and cured piece of meat and a fresh piece of meat, which would have no salt and no cure in it. You basically could kill a pig, cut its pork chops off, and you could eat them, you know, in however long it took you to do that, half an hour. With cured pieces, you know, sometimes our prosciuttos will take up to 2 years to cure correctly. But then once you get the pipeline full, 2 years goes by pretty quick. So it might seem like a lot. All right, so what's too big? For a charcuterie pig, they could be a hippopotamus, really could. What holds you back is if you have equipment to handle them, all right? The question goes on to say, well, do they get too tough when they get bigger? Really doesn't matter in my opinion, because if we're going to cure them, the toughness of the meat would be broken down. If it were to get tough, I don't think they do. I think the best pig for fresh meat is about a 4-year-old sow, you know, that no longer wants to be a sow, or maybe she's too big, and then we just turn her into fresh meat products, like sausage. I mean, you just can't beat the flavor of, and the way you might think is, oh gee, when they get older, they might be tough. Well, I don't know where that comes from, honestly, because about a 4-year-old cow, same thing, the best meat. I've even seen where they butcher a 15-year-old cow and then serve the steaks, and people just think it's the greatest thing. There's more of a flavor profile with an older animal than a much younger animal. So if they're big, some of these guys are approaching 400 right now, and by the fall, when we're going to process them, they're going to be 4 and change. So that's a pretty good sized pig, but that's good because we want as much product to work with as we can get. Making pork chops, if a person sees a pork chop that's as big as their face on a plate, they might think, well, that's too big. But you know, hey, we're homesteaders, all right? So if you get a big pork chop like that, you cut it in half. This is not a place where we have people coming to a restaurant and they're gonna get balky if they see something that they're not used to seeing, right? We're homesteaders. We make do with what we have. If we have a great big pig and we wanna make pork chops, we make pork chops out of it. All right, so I don't think that there's such a thing as too big. I really don't. If you have a good source of feed and you can get the pipeline full, you know what I'm saying? Like if you can have enough pigs that you can get them up to 2 years old, then that would be fine. That would be fine. If not, if you can only get them to 8 months, it's still a good pig to eat. Is it too small? I don't really think so. I think a lot of that train of thought comes from, oh, you know, a market pig is supposed to be 250 pounds. Well, they say that because in the industrial model, they have to tool the processing plant to take a certain size pig, you know, plus or minus, you know, 10%, let's say. And, you know, if one pig is 500 pounds and the next one is 35 pounds, you know, your rails have to be within, you know, the right height to handle both. And they don't really want to handle both. They want to handle about I think it's about 280 pounds right now. 280 pound pig is what they want. Or maybe it's 240, I don't know. It doesn't matter because that's not what we're doing. The homesteader, if he's got pigs out in his pig area and he's able to feed them and it's not a burden on him, he has got food on the hoof that when he needs it, he can process it, hopefully himself, and put it to use. It's way better if you know, maybe process 2 pigs in the fall, but then you have 2 more to replace it that are up and coming. We do that with cattle here. I have young steers that will replace the older ones when they go to process here in the fall. But anyway, that's my Sunday brief, long one, and I must be running out of battery, so I'm going to take off. Thanks for coming. Remember, anyone can farm.